Want to make your laptop better? Just get good at soldering. The next gen of NVIDIA GPUs is in the drivers, and AMD getting freaky with it. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. We're going to start off today with a discussion around how to get your gaming laptop to run just a bit quicker. Turns out it involves a resistor and some soldering, and you're off to the races because a Redditor has posted their 4090 laptop is now getting 5090-like performance thanks to the addition of a 1 milliohm resistor soldered into part of the board on their Zephyrus GPU. There's currently already a 5 milliohm resistor, and so they're adding a 1 milliohm resistor, and this is typically known as shunt modding. And this shunt modded RTX 4090 laptop gets about 20% better performance, which puts it within 3% of a 5090, at least when synthetic scores are involved. Now, there is a problem with doing this: higher temperatures, because you're unlocking more power. And by unlocking, I do mean that you're allowing more power to run through the GPU than it is rated for on that given system, which could potentially result in some longevity problems in the future, and also warranty problems. If, you know, the maker of the laptop finds out that you shunt modded the thing, you probably aren't going to get a claim on that if the GPU burns up. But it does show that there's more power to be unlocked on various different GPUs that you can find out on the market, especially if yours is aging in the teeth. You could maybe give it a little tweak. However, you might be wondering, this sounds a little familiar to a story that you talked about previously, and it turns out, yes, that is true, because I thought the same thing. But in that case, it was a 5090 that got shunt modded to add 40% better performance to the GPU because it unlocked the TGP from 175 watts to 250 on Gizmo Slip Tech's video. So you can go watch that to see what you could get if you have the best of the best. But if you have a previous generation, maybe run a little extra power juice through it. Could be a possibility, especially, you know, if you're a student who happens to have a gaming laptop that they're trying to get running or keep running through the years of college. Because I gotta ask, are you a gamer? Are you a student? If you said yes to both of those rhetorical questions, first, stop talking to your screen. But also, today's sponsor, MSI, has a program created just for you. Like, literally created for you, the students. I'm here to tell you that students in the US hosting collegiate events can apply for support from MSI if they're looking for hardware loaners, prizing, or swag to have at their events. You eager and learning students can also save up to 10% when purchasing MSI products through the MSI US store on qualifying purchases. Just don't play old school RuneScape all night, every night of the week. Just sometimes. Still have to study and all that. All you have to do is register for an account with a .edu email, and discounts will apply automatically at checkout. You can check it out for yourself, full details and all that at the URL below. As always, a big thank you to MSI for sponsoring this video, as well as our UFD Goodbye charity event that we had last month. It was great having everyone together and being able to give away some awesome prizes, all thanks to MSI. And all thanks to driver updates, we're now finding out more details about the upcoming Rubin GPUs that are expected to be in the RTX 60 series graphics cards, as well as be involved in all of the AI data center stuff that's going to be going on. There's details coming out with the NVIDIA engineer explaining that architecture revision metadata is going to be changing from what we have currently to a new setup with future generations, because current GPUs, RTX 20 series through the current gen, is identified as boot 0 in the architecture details, but that's going to be zeroed out with the next gen GPUs, and it's going to be known as boot 42. Just some minor tweaking, nothing major, but does show that they are working on getting Rubin GPUs all ready and prepped for release some point. We're expecting the Super Series to get unveiled at least at CES. Those GPUs with some extra VRAM may not make it to the market until May or June of next year, according to some rumors, but there's details that get you anticipated for the RTX 60 series in case you're waiting for that. And if you're waiting for Reece to give you some deals, wait no longer.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And your first deal today is this EpoMaker Galaxy 70 wireless, 75% hot swappable mechanical keyboard, going for only $49.99, making it $50 off. But then next up, we have the Sticklemonster V750, which is a 750 watt 80 plus gold SFX power supply for only $117.08, making it $32.91 off. Then up next, we have this MSI MPG B650i Edge Wi-Fi. This AM5 mini ITX motherboard is going for $199.99, making it $100 off. And then lastly, as a little bonus today, if you have a Micro Center near you, you can grab the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D for only $280 if you have a Micro Center membership. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, I wish I could explain the deal with AMD and their naming scheme, but I just can't. They used to have a mobile naming scheme that made sense. Then they had one where they had like a codex where you could decipher what each CPU meant, where the first number meant the year it was released and the second number meant the class it was, and then the letter suffix at the end meant the power details. Now they threw all of that out the window when they decided to rebrand to things like Ryzen AI 300, and the reason they gave for making it 300 even though there wasn't a 100 was that they were somehow on their third version of the APU, even though it was the second architecture generation. They just somehow tweaked a few things and still second gen architecture, kind of like what Intel's doing with Xe3, where it's technically still based on 2, it's just a reconfiguration of that. Regardless, AMD is making it even more confusing by releasing as brand new CPUs that are multiple generations old. Zen 2 getting rebranded as Ryzen 10, and Zen 3 Plus getting rebranded as Ryzen 100. I mean, there have been one Ryzen 100 chips out there, but it's now becoming more. So the 7035, 7020 series mobile processors now being identified as just really, really bad names. So you can see Zen 2 was previously called Ryzen 4000. Now it's Ryzen 10 on mobile and desktop. Zen 3 Plus was Ryzen 5000. Now it's Ryzen 100. Zen 4 and Zen 5 remain untouched. But when I say Ryzen 10, that means that there's the Ryzen 3 30, the Ryzen 5 40, and then for the 100, it's the Ryzen 3 110, the Ryzen 5 130, 150, Ryzen 7 160, and 170. Just don't know what's going on. AMD changing things all of the time. Just like when somebody said that the new 3D V-Cache CPU should be called the 9999X 3D, AMD would never do something that cool because they do things like this. I don't understand it. Makes it more confusing. Zen 2 appears to be brand new, more warranty support, I suppose. I guess they're giving some longevity to previous generations of CPU architecture, which is a good thing. They just happen to do it in a very baffling way. And you guys baffle me with the comments sometimes, but let's see what you had to say in yesterday's episode of Hot News. We got CRB saying, expected this to be released in 30 minutes, but was joyed to see Brat haven't gone to winter time. Yes, I'm now in the southern hemisphere, which means we're going into winter, which means that I skipped winter in 2025. I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with winter until about May, June of 2026. So got a good little reprieve from the cold, and thankfully South African winters really are not that bad, especially compared to Pittsburgh. Don't have to deal with snow, really don't have to deal with sub-zero temperatures all too often here. The only thing you really have to deal with the houses in this area is that they are not very well insulated. So typically when it's, 32, 34 outside, it's that colder in the house, unless you have some sort of heating apparatus, which a lot of people do. But yeah, I'm excited to not have winter. And then Sean saying, I know I've been a silent viewer of yours. I do have to say that I enjoyed the vibe of this video. Maybe it's partly due to the sharper editing or the background music. Regardless, keep up the good work. Thank you. I don't know if Rikus sharpened his editing on this latest episode. He's been editing these Hot News for years at this point. He's been back for 2 years. I think it was October 2023 he came back on the team. So same editing style as far as I'm aware, unless you tweak things, in which case thanks Rikus. And then the background music has changed recently because of some behind the scenes stuff going on with Epidemic Sound. We are now switching over pretty much exclusively to our own UFD music, which you can go check out on YouTube. We do have a live stream, twitch.tv/UFD music, where you can enter in to win an RTX 5070 Ti PC in case you want to check that out. But background music is changing, so we've been seeing your comments on it. We're adjusting things, trying out new music here and there. We're updating our discography as time goes on. This has been Reece's project that he's been producing and making sure is happening, and I think we've put out a decent amount of albums for a calendar year 2025. See where things go in 2026, but UFD Music's been a pretty good venture for us so far. And then Jason saying, as a nearly lifelong Western PA resident, I'm curious if you caught Steeler fever during your time here, and if so, how much pain you're in following that game last night. Enjoy your work. Thanks for your efforts. God bless. I have a Cam Hayward jersey just because respect him a lot. I don't necessarily have Steeler fever. I don't really have an NFL team that I personally root for. Kind of attached myself to the Steelers just due to geography, but I'm still kind of nomadic when it comes to who I really care about. I'll just choose who I'm rooting for game to game. I don't, fair weather fan, all that kind of stuff. Also, did not experience the game because Sunday Night Football starts at 2 a.m. in South Africa, so I did not get to see any of that, thankfully. But also, don't have a ton of respect for the Steelers organization, just based on Ben Roethlisberger's history and how he's venerated. Just not a big fan of that. Every NFL team has stuff like that. So I don't know. I like the game of football. I like watching it. I'm thankful that people in South Africa also refer to soccer as soccer. They do call it football, but they also call it soccer. So it's just really, I can say football, American football, and I get to, I don't know where I'm going here. I'll root for the Steelers when it's appropriate. I'll root for other teams when I'm watching a game that doesn't involve a team that I'm associated with. So, anyways, done with this episode. See you back here for more of the Hottest Tech News later.